Okay, once again, we're going to be solving quadratic equations, but this time we're going to use something called the quadratic formula because solving by factoring only works for those problems that can be factored. There's quadratic equations that cannot be factored. And then, of course, maybe you don't have time to factor it. You're in, like an ACT setting or something like that, and you just don't have time to sit there and factor it. Quadratic formula works for all quadratics, even the ones that don't have real x-intercepts, which we'll talk about later this unit. We are still again finding the x-intercepts. We are finding where y is 0, but this time we're using the coefficient values a, b, and c in this formula. And I do have a template. So what I like to do, and you guys know this about me, I like to put parentheses where I'm going to put numbers. So negative b, so that would be parentheses there, plus or minus the square root of, so we've got b again. So we'll put parentheses there, minus 4, there's a, parentheses, so parentheses for a, and then a parentheses for c, and then over 2, and then a parenthesis for a. So now all I have to do is put numbers where they go. So a is 2, b is negative 4, and c is negative 70. So using this template, I just refer back to the formula. So this first parenthesis is going to be my b value, so negative of negative 4. Then the next parenthesis is also b, so negative 4 again. Then 4 times a, so there's 2, times c, which is negative 70, over 2 times a again. So you use b twice, you use a twice, and you use the c just the one time. And then we're going to let the calculator do the heavy work for us. We just have to be careful about how we type it in. Now, of course, we can't type the plus and the minus in the calculator at the same time, so we're going to have to do this 2 different times. But I'll show you a shortcut. So to get the fraction, we do alpha, the green button, y equals the first gray button. And then you can use a little bit of a shortcut here since there's no parentheses. I can go ahead and cancel out these double negatives, or you can type it in with the double negative. It's not going to hurt anything. But I'm just going to go ahead and type it in as a positive 4 plus the square root of negative 4 squared. Now that one we definitely want to keep that negative. Minus 4 parentheses, 2 parentheses, negative 70. Go to the denominator and do 2 times 2. So my first x-intercept is going to be 7. Okay. Now, instead of having to type all that again, I can just scroll up and highlight that portion of the calculator and hit enter. And then all I have to do is scroll back to that plus sign and just make it a minus sign. I know that's a lot of scrolling, but it's still quicker than typing the whole thing in from scratch. Just trust me. So my other x-intercept is negative 5. These being whole numbers means that I probably could have factored that from the start. But again, whether or not they can be factored, quadratic formula is always going to work. I've got 2 different ways I can check my answer. I can plug these back into the original equation, or I can go to Desmos and look for these as the x-intercepts. We're not going to do that since we did that in our previous note session. But if you would like to see me do that, just shoot me an email and I'd be happy to do so.